Welcome, everyone. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 912. Tonight, going to talk about update apps that you can run for doing the work on updating the applications on your system. I want to talk about a couple favorites and some programs that I've seen, and a link that lists a bunch of them. And there's a bunch of cons as you go through that list. Anyway, quick references site, a utility called WinSetView, and then I have a scan to email story and a whole bunch of other stories from the trenches, especially from today. I had 10 calls that I was able to knock out, each of them like in a minute, 2 minutes tops. So I want to go over them real quick because 4 of them were Outlook problems that were luckily easy solutions. So as I get started here, we're going to quickly jump to, let's go to the display capture, and I'm going to click over because I'm going to demonstrate the programs. So what you're seeing here is my Synchro remote access to my Windows 11 system. So in order to update applications, and I needed to do that on this test system, there's a utility called WinGet that is a command line, but there is a GUI. And I don't know, I might have talked about this a while ago. And let's go into the utilities section here. And here's the WinGet UI. And I'm launching that. And this will take a look at everything on my system and recommend what packages. Oh, updates found. I'm not going to update yet. 2 packages can be updated. So let's click software. And there we go. 7-zip, 64-bit. There's an update. And then there's an update for Microsoft Visual C++. Man, there's always an update for that. So just, you see how quickly, how easy it'll find all the apps, and I'll have a link to where you can easily download this and install it. A cool program. I like it. Of course, the popular, but it's only free for home, and this is Patch My PC. This is the one I use all the time on my home systems. And this, many users have recommended this, listeners, and I've talked about it. Now Dexter in the chat mentioned something that I got to address, because Dexter, you are 100% wrong. The Pro version, you have to have a Microsoft account. And I know this for a fact using the latest version. Okay, and it has been tested. All right, so that, and we are going to address that because that's an email when I get to the emails, and I'll talk about that. Anyway, Patch My PC, great link. I'm going to have, if you haven't used it, this is a go-to for updating all your browsers, all your software. When I've been away from my system for a long time, this is what I run to update everything to the latest, greatest. After I make sure my Windows updates are done, I run this. And one of the things that I do, like, since I've been away from Florida, and it's going to be a few months before I do any updates, this will be one of the first things I do after the operating system. And then I might check like video drivers or some things like that. Now, to keep it honest, I started searching for what are the best software update programs, and LifeWire has the top 11, and their favorite is Patch My PC. And what do they have for number 2? WinGet UI. And I actually stumbled on this after the fact, after I already had the 2 slated to talk about tonight. And now let's go with I don't trust anything from IOBit. There's either it was spyware and malware, and after they got rid of that, they added pop-ups and things, and it limits updates to 2 per day because they want money. I don't trust IOBit. So if anybody wants to challenge me on that and, email me, I would, I'll appreciate it. Okay, let's go. You check, and here's the con. Some features you see aren't free to use. We don't like that. And that looks like CCleaner. It's probably the same company. It looks a lot like the new CCleaner. Software Informer. I'm not going to go through all these because when you see website is full of ads, I understand they have to make money. But with all of the ads and the pop-ups, and if they're going to have those guerrilla marketing techniques to annoy me, I avoid it. So right now, the 2 that I recommend to stick with is Patch My PC and WinGet UI. All right. Another utility that I want to talk about, and this is a quick, easy website, quickref.me. I have a .me domain that I haven't done anything with it. It was my initials. There's no website attached to it. I own mhs.me, and it's just my initials, and it's very hard. I did use it, a few years ago, but I just have to come up with something useful for it. This quick reference site has lots of links to take you to teach you programming languages, if you want, and just scroll down. Toolkits, the Linux commands, really nice section on Linux, Python, databases. Here's keyboard shortcuts, which is pretty cool because here's like Microsoft Teams or FileZilla. I haven't even clicked on FileZilla. Let's see that. Here is a cheat sheet for FileZilla. It is very, very cool. There are, I found myself looking at some of these like Google Drive. Here's another one. Spotify. Microsoft Outlook is pretty intense. I mean, it would take a lot to be able to memorize this, but if you can print it small enough, and there might be some things common items that you constantly use in Outlook, this would be a great, just very good cheat sheet. So take a look at that, and I think you will like it. I want to, let's see, let's bring this back up, and let's go to WinSetView. And let me open this, and this is solving an annoyance. This app, it's free, and this annoyance to me, when you open up a directory and it starts sorting, and it sorts by, when you take a look, it will, hold on, give me a second here. It sorts and automatically defaults group by date created or date modified. I hate this because it sorts them in ways that I don't want. It says like this week, then older than a week. And I think everybody, you're nodding your head as you're hearing this. For Windows 11, I got tired of constantly resetting and turning off. I want none. So the way to do this, and it literally takes care of this by default, you open this up and you can reset all of your views for all of these directories. And if you don't want to inherit the changes, then you can easily click and uncheck it. I did this for all of my directories that they're listing here: downloads, general items library, documents library, documents OneDrive. They have everyone, and one click, if you just download this and click submit, your default will be what you've set it for. And that I've done this, and now I am very happy. I'm not being annoyed anymore by Windows 11 and making those changes for me. So something that just, I wanted to go over, and I'll continue as I discover annoyances, that just things that I hate that I run into with Windows 11. I will share, what I've done for the fixes. So, all right. It is time for stories from the trenches. And one of the things that I ran into yesterday, and I might have discussed this a while ago where I had to do it for a client, and it just deserves mentioning again. They have some Kyocera multifunction machines, and they want to be able to email from scan to email. They are Microsoft Business 365, all of their accounts. Now, we happen to have an account called No Reply that we use to auto email things, and I set that account up to be able to relay emails. There are very, very specific instructions on what you have to do in the admin panel for that account in order to be able to relay from a device. But it works flawlessly. And I've had no problem and set it up on the two machines. And this is my go-to if you have an Office 365 account, that you can go to the admin piece. This is the business side. And the link will be in the show notes to take you step by step. Just follow the link, follow the instructions, and you are going to be fine for being able to relay. And that's always been a problem for the just clients, and with Gmail blocking, and it's very hard to relay now. So you kind of have to have a very specific account. Even SureWeb sells a very specific account to allow relays. But it's great that Microsoft at least allows you to make the adjustments at the back end to allow that account to do that. So very, very good, very helpful. So I promised some stories from the trenches, and then I'm going to get to the email. Today, my son was at his BNI meeting. I subbed for him last week when he was on vacation. I am so happy he's back from vacation and returned on Tuesday, and I've had him booked solid all week. And it was great having him back. But today, while he was in that meeting for a few hours, I got hit. Here's 4 Outlook problems that I'm going to talk about that were very quick to solve. The first one, and this sounds silly, but it's an older client. He's a CPA. He's over 90, and he's forgetful, and he called because his Outlook icon was missing from his desktop. I was able to jump in and quickly paste it. Not kidding. So that was one. We like easy ones. Here's another easy one. Mike, I get the call. Outlook just won't run. It refuses to run. Now, when that happens, the most likely candidate, I jumped in, logged in, Task Manager, killed the instances of Outlook, clicked on it, it came right up. So that's one of the biggest culprits if Outlook doesn't launch. I just thought of a 5th one, something I solved earlier in the week. Outlook on its own will decide for what add-in, if it's taking too long to launch, it will block it and stop it from launching. Now, my client uses Citrix ShareFile for securely sharing files. They're a CPA firm, and I jump in, and I know this was set up because I updated the Outlook add-in for ShareFile. Well, guess what? It was deemed taking too long, and I found it in the list of apps that are not loading. Seen that, and you can override it, and you can pick load no matter what. And that's why her option wasn't there to be able to check and send a secure file. And so now I relaunch Outlook. I found that. Boom. Solved that. That was actually earlier in the week. More Outlook problems. Here was a strange one. Client was opening a PDF and they got an error message as they were trying to open it. It wouldn't open, and the error message that they sent me was a detailed apps data folder that they didn't have. It didn't have permissions. So I figured, well, let's see. There's a couple things going on here. The system needed, there was a bunch of updates that were getting ready that wanted to reboot. So I was like, okay, let's close everything. I did go to the folder and checked and changed the permissions just to make sure. Then I had them restart so all the updates could finish. And then they called me back and it's working. So not sure if it was the updates, but that was a weird, that was a weird message. Let's see. More Outlook. I'm trying to think of, we had the missing icon, the missing file, the error, and the add-in. I think I got all the Outlooks. There might have been one more. OneDrive problem. And this is always simple. You make sure you go to the icon, you make sure OneDrive app is launched. And then when it's launched, you make sure that they've signed into the right account. So I had to make sure that happened. That was a quick fix for a client. Printing, the bane of my existence. I hate printer problems. And now I'm presented with an emergency printer problem. And again, a CPA. So lots of CPA calls today. I call him back because I was on the phone with someone else. And he says, Mike, I can no longer print. And the first thing I see in the queue, there's 21 unprinted documents. Now, I did say this, and I tried to be as polite as possible. If you print something once, and it's a tax return of several pages, and it doesn't print, why would you send 20 more jobs to the printer? I'm just curious, that it'll magically, start working. It's just, I don't know. So I said, look, if something doesn't print one time, you wait. Then I want you to go over and I want you to reboot the printer. Pull the plug, turn it on, let it come up, see if the document kicks out. If it doesn't, and you can't you print anymore, like even just try to do another test one page, now call me. So once they do that, then they I jump in and you stop the print spooler. And then after the print spooler, you then go to Windows System 32 spool printers. And this is that trick, not a trick, but, a fix. And you delete everything in that folder, in the printers folder. Then you restart the print spooler service again after you delete the contents of the printers directory. No joy. Test job did not print. So canceled the test job. And then I figured, you know what? Excuse me. This is Windows 11. I just removed the device and then looked up the model. It was a Sharp MX, C304 or something. Downloaded the proper driver. Went through the install process very quickly. And it solved it. I might have been like 10, 15 minutes for the whole problem, and it was working perfectly. But that's my go-to default troubleshooting on a printer problem. You'll always want to see are there any error messages on the printer itself? That's something you always want to check. But I always clean out the print queue, the print spool, make sure that's empty, make sure we've unplugged the printer and restarted it, and then take a look. Can we print a test page? And if not, just remove the device, install the driver from scratch, getting the latest, greatest driver from the manufacturer's website. That tends to solve most of the common printer problems. Literally tomorrow, I have a FaceTime with a client that I'm crossing my fingers. We're going to try to reset the printer back to its factory defaults because I'm too far away for this client. And we're going to see if this can fix the problem that we're running into. So hopefully resetting it, getting it on their Wi-Fi because there's no Ethernet. And that's another thing. I wish every printer would be Ethernet connected and not Wi-Fi. And just life gets a little better when you're Ethernet, printing. All right. So let's keep going. We have some emails, and let's address the quick one where it was the Windows 11 local account creation. So if you go to the latest Windows 11 24H2, which is shipping with new Dell systems, I have been unable, using all the tricks that are available, I have not been able to bypass the logging in with a Microsoft account. And that's why we created a quick dummy account that I talked about that we go through. Then we set up a local user. It's very easy. Once you set up the local user, you log on as the local user, make them a local admin, and then delete the Microsoft account. Okay? So, all right. Let's see. This is from Joel. I'm always grateful for the fixes that you provide that may make my and my client's life easier. On show 911, you were asking about creating a local account on a Windows 11, and I found this site a while ago, and it seems to work pretty well for me when needed. Here's the problem. I'm going to post this link. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to see the date. Microsoft, by the time they post this link, there's going to be an update that's going to stop it, and you're not going to be able to do it. Now, I'm not installing media from scratch. I know some of the tips are to change, the boot media, and then you can bypass. So that's a problem. Dexter's only seeing 23H2 so far, still works on that. And yes, it does work on 23H2, but the A at A.com does not work, but the Shift F10 or whatever that you have to hit that does work on 23H2. I'm talking 24H2. They just keep they I don't know. Well, I know why. They want to force everybody into a Microsoft account, and I have clients, as I explained last week, that absolutely cannot. They have to have a local account because of the way they operate. So, all right. Thank you. And that was from Joel. And this is from AY. uBlock Origin. I forgot about that. No contest. AdBlock Plus actually lets paid parent ads through. uBlock Origin also has a version under testing that will continue working after Manifest version 3 kicks in. So and I know I used to use that a long time ago. I don't know why I ended up going to AdBlock, but uBlock Origin, nice extension, and I thank you so much for emailing me that. I really appreciate it. Let's see. It's about the bypass. Now, I did watch this. Taz sent a link from YouTube on being able to, my phone's ringing. When I see unknown, I send it right to voicemail. So, and then they never leave a voicemail because it's spam. There was a link of a guy who's very, very good, and he always has great tips. But I'm not sure, and he does mention on 24H2, and I got to lay my hands on the next one, and I'm going to try it, and if it does work, I will come back to, if the process to bypass, to create a local account, if that becomes more difficult than just having a dummy test account to get through this, well, then that's what I'm going to do. Use the dummy account, then get by everything, create the local account, then go back. And now, one of the gotchas, you got to be careful, and we've noticed this. Once you log in with your local account, it automatically invokes BitLocker encryption and then saves the key. So if I don't need the BitLocker on a full desktop in a trusted office, I will remove it. Every laptop, no question, BitLocker should be on, and that's why, to me, only the pro version of the operating system exists. I don't use Home. I don't recommend Home. I don't want anybody using Home. Use pro version for Windows. And with that, that is it. A quick admin, just to talk about next week, next Thursday, is the 4th of July. No show next week. Unless something happens where I'm in a great mood or something Wednesday night, I might, but unlikely. I'm going to take a break, need a few days next week. So want to wish everybody who's celebrating the 4th of July in this country, I know I have listeners all over the world, so have a safe and happy holiday, and then I'll see everybody back in 2 weeks. So July 11th, and I've already built in some topics, something I mentioned before the show. I have a lot to share on QuickBooks desktops, where Intuit's going, where they're heading, and what you have to do in order to get the desktop version. You cannot buy it online anymore. You must call the phone number. So a couple really good QuickBooks tips. I've had multiple conference calls this week because I have clients. I don't want to get into it. I will do a nice segment on the next show. So I've already got that listed for show 913, and I'm starting to build out the list for that. Please send me an email. Let me know if you want to, you have a comment on anything I've talked about, you want to hear something, you want to share something, MikeTechShow@gmail.com. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Michael Smith MTS. Don't forget, donations. I could really use help for supporting the show, and the donation button, anything helps. And you can click on the link in the show notes. If you get value from this show and you like some of the things you hear, please take a moment and make a donation. That's the best way to support this show. That is it. And I will, Tim had a great idea here. He says, you could just come online next week and just play some music. That's actually a pretty good idea. So I will tweet and Facebook that if that's what I'm going to do. For now, everybody stay safe, have a happy holiday, and I will see you later.